You're working on something else, but wasn't real sure.
I got a foam wing for one. I got 3 foam wings for one. But I'm gonna do something different.
Have you decided yet or not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's totally different method of construction and everything. Be 2 halves glued together. So the whole fuselage is going to be 16 folded.
Oh, okay. You gonna run a keel in it or not?
No. It'll be built just like a real airplane. Stringers, ribs, and 2 shells.
Mm. That's the
All the
optimum.
shells will go over the stringers.
Pardon me?
The shells will go over the stringers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There'll be about 4 stringers in it, and a top and a back cap, and they'll just fit together like that.
Oh, okay. We got Jake. Who's that now?
Jamie.
Oh, it's Jamie. Oh, okay.
Yeah, hang on, I'll get you. I'm busy getting all the other ones that piled up that I hadn't gotten to yet. Okay, Jamie, there you go. You can unmute your mic. It doesn't look okay. It's not muted. So,
Cool.
good evening.
How'd you do in the Pampa contest?
Oh, not good. Not
No.
good at all. The win, Saturday we had like no win at all. For a profile, there was 0 win. Everybody struggled but me. My twister just flies great with no win at all. It's like it's on rails, you know. And I got video of it, and I watched it last night. And I seen everything I did wrong, and everything I did wrong was all operator error there. But Pampa yesterday was not good. The wind was up, and I kept missing it. And you know what happens when you miss it? If you're too far left, too far right, you just get blown all over.
Uh,
All right,
on my
your hands. I gotta make dinner and go to sleep.
all right. Take it easy,
All right,
Sparky.
Sparky.
see you, Sparks.
Thanks for helping us out.
Keep on helmet head.
Yeah.
I'll try to. I'm sitting here. Some of it, sometimes it accepts my complaints, and sometimes it doesn't. But I'll do the best I can.
All right, you guys take care.
Yeah,
All right, take it easy.
Good night,
Later.
Saki.
Well, I'm hoping I can go back and paste my introduction from the original show onto the beginning of this one. What is that noise?
How long was he in for?
Yeah, well, which time he came in about 15 times.
Oh, okay.
I did the intro, and then Sparky came in, and the little kid came in at about the same time, and just doing his usual shit. I didn't have a chance to look at what he was putting up on video, but it looked like it might have been porn, but I knocked it out as fast as I could. Sometimes the controls don't work so well when there's so much going on. But
So was it dark like it is when we come in, or?
no, Sparky had told me at Huntersville that he'd taken care of all of it, so I didn't turn the screening controls on, and so that made the first couple of minutes a real mess.
Oh, okay.
I got it turned on now, so he probably got tired for a little bit and quit. I hadn't seen him back in a few minutes.
I want to pick somebody else.
I was really jacked up when I started. I had a great weekend, and I was all set to talk all about it, but now I'm kind of spending more attention looking at who comes into the chat box. But seems to have calmed down. I just need to get my shit back together.
Okay.
I guess that's what he wants. It's just to rattle me.
Hey, when you guys using poly span, Do you have to remove any of that to mount it to the fuselage, or do you just glue over it?
It can be doped down. I use
Yeah.
There's a video of Sparky doing poly span on his Continental.
Yeah.
If you look up his Continental build, he'll show you exactly what to do.
Yeah, I've seen the videos where you cover the wings, but I haven't found a video where they're actually anybody's actually mounting the wing to the fuselage.
I think
And you know,
normally
I
thought
I
you
got
would
my
cover it off.
what?
You wouldn't glue the fuselage to the pulley span, would you? Because the pulley span's going to lift more easily, but I could be
That's what I
wrong.
was thinking. But I mean, when I my Tudor 2 was an ARF, and it's got the monocoat on it, so you had to remove part of the mono. It said to mark it and draw your lines, and then cut away the
You can
monocoat
unmute your mic now, Al.
to glue it onto the wing to the fuselage. But the
I don't cut. They say to overlap it. You stick polyspan on up, across the center line, and then come the other way and go the other way,
Yeah.
and then just glue it into the wing, or glue it into the fuselage. I mean,
Yeah. So you can just glue right over with epoxy,
yeah,
or yeah.
because really, as much the glue you put in the for the wing isn't going to hold that wing. It keeps the wing from sliding back and forth, but it really doesn't hold it, from like breaking the airplane. That's glued in or whatever. If that's, can't take the force, that fuselage will break in half.
Right.
But,
like I said, I didn't know. I've seen them with because I want to get back to the I guess old school instead of going silk span with the poly span instead. But I couldn't remember. It's been 35 years since I've messed with any silk span. So of course the profiles, I cover them after the wing's already glued in. So I didn't know if you cover the wing and then slide it in the fuselage, if you had to remove any of the poly span first to fasten the fuselage to the wing with bare wood, or if you can just glue right over the poly span.
I've always glued right over the top of it, putting it together.
Okay, that's
Tom Morris says, to double it up in the center section. And
Sparky, the ones I've seen him do, he goes from edge of the sheeting to edge of the sheeting, so the center of the plane's doubled up all the way from sheeting to sheeting.
Yeah, you can do it that way too.
But I just didn't know if you could glue it to the actual poly span or had to remove any of it. But didn't know, hadn't done it, so I'm still.
Yeah, I think it should be fine. That that.
I was going to ask him before he got off, but he got off quicker enough. Before I could ask him.
Well, I got a new profile at the house.
Well, you bought a profile now, Jamie?
Oh no, it was given to me. And it is nice. This is probably the nicest plane I got now.
Wow. Think it'll outdo the Twister?
Huh?
Think it'll outdo the Twister?
Definitely.
What is it?
It's the Forerunner.
Oh, okay.
But it is built and finished nice. Like from what I've seen, there ain't a single thing wrong with it, except I think they got one little patch on a wingtip. But I mean, as for like quality of the build, it is clean.
What sort of plane is it? Is it like a 40 sized or what?
Yeah, it's 46 to 51. I want to say that's what it is. But unlike the other Forerunners, like it was designed to have the motor on the inboard side. This one was built to have it on the outboard side. It only has like 5 flights on it.
It's got the motor on the inboard side.
It's designed to have the motor on the inboard side.
That's odd, or that's unusual anyway.
Yeah, that was George Aldrich's on his profile Nobler. They were designed to be with a motor on the inside, motor and tank.
And the tank too.
That way, centrifugal force fuel, push fuel into the motor. Another guy that I haven't seen him around flying. He's got Parkinson now, but he had a profile Nobler with a motor on the normal side, as we think, but the fuel tank was on the inboard of the airplane. So that centrifugal force would then force that.
That gives you more pressure,
Yeah.
more head pressure.
Sometimes they go too much when it's inboard too far, and you can't get them lean enough on the launch.
That's what the old racing, in slow rat, the older slow rat, where they used to run 36s, they used to have an inboard tank. It was a profile, and the engine was on the outboard side, and they had a tank on the inboard side, and they had a flapper over the intake of the carburetor. So, and also on the inboard side, they had a little tank, maybe like a half an ounce tank, just so for takeoff. So when the plane would take off, when it gets up in the air, then the centrifugal force would open up the venturi to like a really big hole. And then they'd had it figured out. Then when centrifugal force took over, then the inboard tank would make the engine run really, strong. And that the guys were getting, it was almost like running a pressure tank. They would be the engines, the equivalent. They get the most power out of the engines. So they had 2 tanks. They had a little tank on the outboard side and the big tank on the inboard side. So the little tank was just to get it off the ground, and then centrifugal force would open up the venturi to wide open, and then it would be able to run with the inboard tank flowing. Otherwise, if you didn't have that inboard tank, if you didn't have the little outboard tank, the plane wouldn't come off the ground if you had the venturi wide open.
That's pretty freaking cool. I have never heard of anything like that.
That's too much science for me.
On a stunt airplane, what it does is that it actually, when you launch it, it'll launch lean.
Right.
Because we always fly off of grass. So the thing will be leaning just to haul an ass, get you up through the grass, and once the centrifugal force gets going, it richens the airplane right up, and it'll do your...
Right. I got one down in the basement. I could go down if you guys really wanted to see that setup.
And it probably runs differently depending on whether you're on grass or on pavement, because on pavement you get the centrifugal force kicking in a lot earlier because it rolls faster sooner.
Yeah.
And then, so you probably got to get used to that change.
And then with,
we're pretty slick. I was always going to do one, and then like a dumbass, I built the thing wrong. I bought a one of his profile Noblers, and then don't know what I was thinking, just doing them so much. I built the damn thing normal, and it's like, well, shit. But I had it all glued up and epoxied on, so it's a normal profile instead of the way he designed it. I wanted to try it, but I never did finish it because I did it wrong.
That sucks. It's not like something I might do.
But what it is that you lay up all the hardwood rails, and it had a tank that inletted into the fuselage. So it was made for a 6-ounce Sullivan tank or whatever, would fit right in there. Well, I had all that built up and everything was right. And then when I glued up the doublers, the plywood doublers, I glued them on the wrong side. And I'm like, well, son of a bitch. Now I just got a normal airplane. But I meant to do it the other way, but it didn't happen. I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to use 15-minute epoxy. That's all I had. So I'd put it on really quick, got them all on there and put my clamps on and all that, got everything lined up perfect and shit. And by the time that I noticed I did it wrong, it was already the 15-minute and it was already partially set and I wasn't going to rip it apart. I'm like, damn. Oh. But yeah, that's kind of like the 2 times I built the damn weight box on top of the wing and had to cut it out and change it over.
You seen Don Cransfield Maverick? You know, the one he has. It's called Why Not? The way it's painted. The one I'm pretty sure he flew it at the Nats this year, and it's painted that green, black, and white.
I haven't seen it. No, I didn't get to go to the Nats this year.
Oh. In fact, if you watch that video I posted on Stunthangar yesterday, it's on it towards the end. And the Forerunner is painted almost identical to it. Same green, same almost the same. He built the Forerunner and he had brung it and he gave it to me.
So you didn't bring it with you? I thought you'd probably be putting the motor on it tonight.
Oh no, I'm in Corpus. I drove down here today. I haven't even messed with the plane. When I took it home Friday, I cleaned it up, hung it on the wall, and that's the last I've seen of it.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, it just needs a little work for the motor mount. The insert, the threaded insert, he had said had came loose, and so he had redid it, and it started working its way loose again. So what I'm going to do is just put another set of inserts and use aluminum pads and drill and tap.
Oh, okay.
For that way I could. He told me, put a 46 LA and have fun with it. I said, oh, well, I mean, I got a Super Tiger 46 as well if needed. He said that'll work too with it, but I probably just end up going with the 46 LA, just depending on the weight. But I mean, if he says a 46 LA is going to work, it's going to work.
Yeah. See how it balances out and all that kind of good stuff.
Oh yeah. I'm excited to try it out. I mean, I love the Twister, don't get me wrong. And whenever he walked up to me, he's like, is this going to help you? I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure it will. Look what I'm flying now,
So what do you drive down on a Monday and back home on Friday?
Pretty much.
So you just put in monster days for 3 days, huh?
What's that?
You put in monster days for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
For the most part. I mean, the work we're doing out here, I mean, we're trying to get it done, but I mean, when certain rooms in the rig aren't ready for us to do work in, ain't nothing we can do, so we just go home.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we get paid for the ride here, the ride back, hotel and everything, so.
Now you're putting in like coolers and stuff, aren't you?
Oh yeah, everything, kitchen, everything that goes in the galley, all the equipment, everything.
What are you working on, boats?
Oil rigs.
Oh, oil rigs. Oh, okay.
At least down here. I mean, we stopped at 3 schools on the way up here to do some work. So.
Well, I thought you did. You put together walk-in coolers and freezers and all that kind of stuff, and
that too.
All that too.
Oh yeah, everything that's a part of the kitchen.
So you do makeup airs and all that kind of stuff, huh?
No. I mean, we don't do any of the duct work or none of that. We just set up the coolers, or say like even with the hoods, hang the hoods. Electricians come do their stuff. AC guys, duct guys, as we call them, they come do all their stuff.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, once we hang it, we're done with it.
Oh, so even on the coolers, you don't got to run the pipe and.
Nope. We contract all that out.
Oh, okay.
It makes things easier. Oh yeah, look. See, that's too much science right there. You're holding. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't hang with that.
I want to click that up so the YouTubers can see it.
This is a national rat, slow rat.
You got to lower it down just a little bit, Al.
AMA racing.
Yeah, there we go.
Wow.
You know, so
Oh, OS40.
here's the inboard tank. It's a fast fill. And then here's the outboard tank. So you need this tank to get it off the ground. But then, you know, this runs out quick and this one takes over. Well, this one feeds this one. But if you see, let me see if I can. This thing here, it's a rear intake and there's a big intake on the back. The rules on this is for suction. And this is what's called the swing weight. So when centrifugal force, when the plane gets in the air and starts going fast, this opens up and it's time, you know, it's timed, you know, when the inboard tank takes over.
Oh.
That's how you get, you know, the most horsepower. The rules are no pressure. You know, it's all suction. But and then they were, you know, doing that. They were doing the inboard tank
To get a little bit of pressure, actually.
right, more pressure. So when the swing weight opens up, the venturi, it you know, you get maximum power.
Wow.
What about
This is
when you
Oh,
fuel
that's
it up? When you fuel it up, does the you fuel it through that side and then it fills up the little tank too?
right. This is a fast fill. Like it's a rubber hose. It's a rubber cap that has a slit in it, and you have and you just take it and you can push like 3 ounces of fuel in here in a second, and you just fill it up and put your clip. Oh, you usually have a hot glove. You put it on and start it up. But this is a OS 36 tuned hill. They called it a tuned hill version, a racing engine.
Yeah.
Wow. Side exhaust, rear intake, huh?
Yep, side exhaust, rear intake, correct.
Yeah, it looks like the 40 SR that they used for Pylon.
I'm sorry. That's,
Oh, yeah. That is cool as hell.
yeah, I this is the nuts. I think in 2006.
Are they still using that setup, or they go with something else now?
No, they did away with it because they did away with it because it was too fast and too powerful, and they made they changed the rules to a 25 and no inboard tank.
Oh, okay.
But then we started developing and we got the 25s going just as fast as these. So that was, I have the 25, the modern, you know, because you know, these were going around 120 miles an hour, and we got our 25s going 125 miles an hour, 120 miles an hour. So
Wow.
so much for changing the rules. Yeah.
What kind of motors you run on them? Still OSs or?
Well, no, I'm running car engines.
Oh, okay.
You know, you probably never heard of it, but I discovered, you know, and did R&D on. It's called a Go engine, a Go 25,
Oh, okay.
and it's a car engine that I converted and put a prop on it, and it's really strong, a really high winding, high revving engine, really powerful engine. But it's equivalent. And then you know, it's like the Nova Rossi's. I think really there was when that came out, there was really no competition for the Go 25. You know, when they came out, and other guys started to adapt different engines, trying it, but the Go 25 has the record. You know, the Nats record for speed.
My brother runs speed, flies
Mhm.
speed or whatever. And I told him, I said, man, get a car motor and a 21 size car motor and see what you can do with it. Because that's where all the R&D is going in, is these cars and stuff. It's not airplane stuff anymore. And
Yeah, no, it's that's what everybody was saying. There's too many ports and all that stuff. But then when I brought out that Go 25 and started putting props on it and dialing it in, we were like, holy mackerel, the power that we were getting, we couldn't believe it. We couldn't believe our eyes when it was going around, and the planes were still the same size, 300 square inch planes, and it was like really amazing. Guys couldn't believe it when they saw it. They thought the 25s were really going to slow it down, but once we start putting that car engine in there, forget it. It was crazy.
yeah, I forget what some of them damn car motors now got, like 3 horsepower or 5 horsepower or something. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
They'll run 50,000 RPM and stuff like that or whatever.
Yeah, that was in the same. I don't know if you know about clown racing, but the clown racing, you're allowed up to a 20 size engine. And when I started racing, and then I discovered the OS 18TZ engine, I tried that. I would bench run them, and I was always looked for a bore stroke that was like a pretty even engine, because that makes them, to me, that I thought it always made the most power. This, same bore and stroke.
Yeah.
And I found this OS 18TZ, and it was the same thing. It was like, like, holy shit, this thing was so fast. And that it got to the point everybody was trying all different combinations, and nobody, the only way they could beat me was they'd had to run the same combination I was running. Then they were becoming competitive. But those we had a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah,
And
them car motors really go.
I wasn't sure what the difference was. I talked to some people about car motors up in Huntersville this weekend, because I found an old box of car motors that my best friend, when he passed away back in I don't know, the early 2000s, he had been into cars at the time, and I ended up with all of his stuff and big old end runners, and he had note cards and stuff with all kinds of specs that he'd used for tuning the timing, and I didn't know what to do with them. I didn't know if they'd work on airplanes or not. I was told that no, those wouldn't bolt straight up to an airplane. And the dates on his note cards was 1988, so it's probably nothing like what y'all are talking about now. But that was just interesting old stuff to look at. And of course, there was some crossover stuff too, like control horns and all kinds of bits and pieces that could be used for aircraft. So I figured I'd just take it and throw it on the picnic table and see if anybody wanted it. And sure enough, it gradually disappeared all weekend. They got a whole bunch of stuff. I hope it was valuable to somebody for something. It was all new looking stuff too.
They can use them in helicopters and.
Yeah, that's what somebody told me. That's true. I guess, what about gearboxes? Can you get gearboxes that'll adapt to different speed outputs?
I don't know how. My brother has an electric plane with a gearbox, but it's only like a 10 size, a 10 size motor or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And, it takes the place of like a 09 or whatever, but it's all plastic. And I don't know, with plastic gears and stuff like that, if you really put a big propeller on them. But maybe they make them with metal gears too.
This junk I had that I was giving away had just a shitload of different sizes of metal gears mixed in with it in different packages, and I assumed it was for the drivetrain, the rear gear. to the wheels or something like that. So I wish I knew more about them.
When I used large geared motors in the past, it was with a belt drive, and I had like large vintage models where I got the Astro motors, and you get a tiny little 05 size motor, and then you gear it up, and you're swinging a big spark ignition size prop. They sound neat. They actually had quite a neat. Some of the belt drive ones sell just a very different noise to a one with metal gears or nylon gears. It just sounded
Yeah.
quite cool with the belt drive. But, yeah, I don't think anybody's doing that sort of thing now. The technology's all outrunner now.
Yeah.
Outrunner.
Anybody
motor-
Charles and them did at the Golden State deal? Wasn't that Golden?
Sorry, I hadn't been reading the forums or anything. I've been so preoccupied with Huntersville. I was all prepared to really get excited and talk about that tonight. And then when our show got interrupted so badly at the beginning, I kind of lost my juice.
Did you get to fly it all while you're there, Rusty?
Oh no, I can't even walk 2 steps, Steve, without a walker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm totally down right now.
Did you do some judging then and stuff?
No, there's no way I could have done that either, because you know the slopes that lead up to the circles, the whole circles are sitting on top of raised slopes. That would have been impossible for me to do. Besides, I don't have the endurance. I mean, you saw me in April, and I was on the incline. You know, I was so to speak. I was getting healthy, getting better, and even got out there with no cane and flew that shoestring. But I'm nowhere close to where I was now. So you know, this once I get it fixed, I believe I'm going to be. I get the impression I'm going to be in really good shape once I get through this next one, and so I'm looking forward to that.
I hope it all works out and
Yeah.
you're able to get
But
behind the head again.
I sat on what I call Geezer Alley, which is the long bench along the front end of the picnic shed, and it overlooks the circle that they flew a lot of events on, including Expert Pampa, and just I talked to people. I was able to hobble around, you know, and go look at planes and talk to people a little bit, but that was about it. And I had done so much talking by Saturday morning, my voice was starting to go. By Sunday, it was shot. And we had some good gatherings out by the pool Friday night and Saturday night too, and good conversations. Now Saturday night it started getting really cold out there, so I had to go early before everybody else.
You get down to about 60.
I don't know what it got to. It was probably colder than that, but it was windy too. So
It was like 29 here this morning.
Yeah, well, it was probably as uncomfortable to us as 29 is to you. So
I see you got your Super Satan in the air.
yeah, and I'm sorry we hadn't gotten to talk about that yet, but I talked about it in my intro to the show and figured we'd hopefully get to that. I was hoping Tom would come on tonight and talk to us about it too, but that was big fun. And Jeff Dawson was there too. I got the pleasure of meeting Jeff. I had only heard of him before, and turns out we've got a mutual friend, so we hit it off pretty good. It was fun talking to Jeff. He's a character. Y'all know him? Anybody know Jeff Dawson? The Sonic Chicken is the model that he builds and markets, I think, or it was when I first started hearing about him a couple of years ago. But yeah, man, we had a great time with that. And we ran it on 35% nitro, and took him a while to get it cranked. I don't know what the problem was. I saw him changing glow plugs, but once it got going, it ran like a screaming demon. And yeah, Mike Lonke just rang it out. And I mean, he stood there and just flew the shit out of it. And so then they wanted to get a time on it. So somebody had a stopwatch and counted it off while Mike flew level laps. But between the first flight and the second flight, they had changed props and also changed the needle valve, and it wasn't running near as good the second flight as it was the first flight, which of course is the one they timed. And they clocked it at 108 miles an hour.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, so that wasn't too bad. If it was running 108 on that flight, then I can't imagine it must
You're breaking up on me.
flight. So I don't know. And then Tom flew his new Satan and with the ball bearing engine on it. Of course, mine's got the needle bearing, so I was curious to see what the difference was. It had a different sound to it, and a little bit different run. And yeah, it flew screaming fast too. So I was happy to see that one get to go.
Did he put the same fuel, or did he tip the can a little harder?
I think he was using the same 35% in it.
Okay.
I didn't see anybody out there with really hot fuel except for when we were eating lunch. I looked on the picnic bench beside where I was sitting, and there was a bottle that said 75% on it with a little crank pump sitting on top of it. So I don't know who belonged to that, but somebody had a fast plane. I don't know whose it was though.
I'd have a tendency to put pistons.
Flying style matters, and the day and the altitude and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But that's a respectable time. That's a respectable.
Yeah.
Hey,
hour.
maybe one of you guys would know the half A little snip. Was that a half A of the Satan?
No. I don't think so.
No, little Satan was the half A.
Little Satan is the half A.
Yeah, but the little Satan half A looks more like a voodoo than a Satan. Super Satan. It doesn't have a tapered trailing edge, and it looks totally different. The little Satan looks like a voodoo. They should have called that the little voodoo.
Oh, because when I was a kid, we had the little Satan. I mean, little snips, and I didn't know what that was from.
Yeah, I don't actually I can't recall what that plane is. I never remember seeing one, but
you know what? I've got the first flight of the Super Satan on my phone on video. I forgot I had it. I hadn't even looked at it. So Mike also got it, and he says it's posted on the Facebook Control Line Flying website. James,
I saw Tom Luciano's is on there. I saw Tom's flight.
Well, okay, yeah. Well, mine's my plane's on there too with Mike Lonke flying it.
I didn't see it.
No, yours isn't on there.
Oh, it's not? Okay, well, I'll put mine. I'll edit mine up and put it on there. I hope it's good because I pointed at it the best I could. I could not see the plane much in the window. And I also wanted to see it with my real eyes while it was happening. I didn't want to waste a bunch of time staring at the camera while he was out there ringing the plane out. So I sacrificed quality for real life experience there.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I love watching them too and hearing them. Every time it starts up, they still amaze me.
You know what? You remember I was a little worried about flying that plane. Watching Mike fly that thing. Now I know in stunt the experts always make it look easy, but just watching Mike's movements, that thing is well within my wheelhouse. I ain't worried about flying that thing at all.
No, that's good.
I think the Gladiator is probably harder to fly than the
a Gladiator on 42-foot lines with a hot engine on it is. It's a little more hairy. The problem is when it gets behind your back.
That's what happened to me.
You don't know what to do.
I flew it back there for a while and almost got it back.
You just got to give it down and bring it around.
Yeah.
I think that's where Sparky lost it too.
Yeah.
What he was describing. Everybody always loses it, because they're quick and they shoot behind your back, and you can't, you older, you can't look back anymore. So it's just like you give it down elevator and bring it around till you
Yeah.
can see it, or you just do, your inside loops, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Couple
When I
loops.
get, when I get my juice back, get my new leg working, I think I'm gonna be out there. I'll work up to it. I'll go out with some fast half A and play around and just get the feel of it before I put the Super Satan in the air. But yeah, I'm all jacked now. I can't wait to fly that thing.
Just do loops and figure eights. Don't bring it up high.
Yeah.
It gets behind you, you'll lose
When it gets high, it's hard. Yeah.
You'll lose it. But no, it's a lot of fun, and I really enjoy flying them. Just like we had the combat festival. That was a great time.
How
Yeah,
did
that was
how
one
did
of the
Sam do
things,
there?
among others. That was one of the things that made my weekend. That was big fun out there, and all the combat. A lot of the combat guys were out there with us too. It was after all the events were over, and we just went down there and played for about an hour.
Oh yeah, no, they're a lot of fun. That plane attracts more people than probably any other plane in the in the crowd.
I'll tell you what, a lot of people watch us that we never suspect. When you go back and look at the history of these shows in the archives, in the playlist on Sparky's website, you see about a hundred and something views, 109 views, 150 views, and now I'm meeting a lot of those people now that tell me they've never posted or anything in YouTube or whatever, but they watch the show every chance they get and really love it. So we're providing a good service for both entertaining people and showing people how to do stuff. All of you guys have different interests in different areas of expertise, and so we're spreading the joy. And also, partly because of that, I think I got an award this weekend, and it's for people that contribute to the hobby. Let's see, the Masters Circle Award.
Oh, very nice.
It's got my name on it. How many trophies have your name on it? That's pretty cool.
Well, too.
Yeah, I guess it's bronze or something. It's heavy as hell. So yeah, man, y'all help me. Y'all help me get that.
That's good. Excellent.
The Master, Rusty Knowlton, Master Control Liner.
Yeah. Did you see Tom's Crossfire? Isn't that a beautiful plane?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It sure is.
Yeah,
there were several Bob Hunt style planes out there, and one of them took second place, I think, in Expert Tampa. I forget which one. The twin. It was the twin. The Second Wind. Is that the name of it?
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure, but
something like that. The one with the retracts on it, and yeah. So it was a top 3 finisher, and we had some great flying, and it was kind of breezy on Pampa Day, but not so much that very many people were scratching. Not like it was the last time I flew out there when we had 25-mile-an-hour winds and all of the people with multi-$1,000 planes were scratching off the list. But that was the day the crews couldn't land in the tree without doing a go around. But the wind, I was told, I talked to Mike Waldron about the wind, and he said once you got above the treetops on your vertical maneuvers, it was as calm as could be. But when you got down under the treetops, the planes looked like they were hunting, just bouncing like that, going around the circle.
Well, it's good that you got it off. Here we were supposed to have a profile contest Sunday, profile and Bloomburst, and they canceled it because we had like 20 mile an hour and better with gusts.
Yeah.
It was horrible here Sunday. And then I was able to, I'm still working on my LA 46 Vector, and trying to get that the way I wanted. And I was able to go out Saturday, and it was like, still it was 10 miles an hour wind, but I finally, got that running really, really nice. I'm running the Gardner's hitting there, and just working on the combination, and finally I hit it right on Saturday, playing with it.
Yeah.
Hey, Rusty, that gentleman that was there when Samantha and I were there, and he just found out he got cancer. Was he there?
Yeah, I think so. What's his name? Well, I know you probably don't want to say that.
I can't remember his name, and I know he's.
What does he fly? What does he fly?
He wasn't flying. He was sitting in that chair. He married some woman, and they were going to go to Brazil, or she was from some other. He knew you real well. And
That seems to be common, that they know me and I don't know them.
Yeah, you knew who he was when he walked up.
Yeah.
He came, he was there, and then the guy that could really finish some airplanes, and I can't remember.
So I knew. Okay. Dang, Steve, I don't know. So many people, so many conversations. But I do remember somebody saying exactly what you just told me about the cancer.
Yeah, I wondered if if he found out anymore or whatever, that he went in for his back.
Yeah, that's right. Yep, he did. And
he had some kind of back problem, and when they're doing X-rays, they found some tumor or something. I just wondered.
Yeah, and it has metastasized some. I do know that much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he's talking about starting chemo.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, because he came out to watch Samantha fly and stuff, and he knew about her. But I know he was into racing. He was big into control line racing and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
That's something we're not currently doing at Huntersville, and we have in the past. Huntersville kind of does what the current interests are around the club and around the East Coast, and racing hadn't been on the list since I've been there. But they've done Foxburg, and they've done team racing. I guess Foxburg's team racing too, right? But since I've been there, I hadn't seen any racing or speed, and we don't have a speed cage either.
You had a guy try.
What?
Yeah, I said, Rusty, you had a guy try.
Yeah.
It was, our ex-club president moved down there. This is by the name of Brian Silversmith, and he was he loves to race, but he tried to get you guys to race down there, but nobody wanted any part of it.
I wonder who he talked to and why that was that we didn't want any part of it.
Yeah. So, but it was. But now he's not active anymore. So,
what sort of facility would we have to add to the club? Do we have to have a fenced-in cage with a paved?
No, you need people that can bend down and fly and participate. It's pretty physical.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
When we were there in France, I mean, you got to be real mobile. It's not old guys.
Yeah.
Right.
So even just on the like the entry level stuff that we're doing, and you got to get down on your knees and fill it, and you gotta
have quick reflexes to catch those planes and
catch it, and chase after it, start it. It's learn it, and to learn it, later in life, it's hard to do. Like anything else,
If I had to guess, I'd say more pitmen have lost races than pilots, actually.
Yeah, and then you have to teach the pilots how to fly with 2 and 3 people in a circle too.
Yeah.
What to do, what not to do, and where do you have to stand when you start the plane and where you have to stand. You know, it's all that's critical where you stand when you bring the plane in the pits.
Yeah.
You're too far in, then the other guys will trip over your lines and create a big problem. You're too far out, you're killing the pit man or the lap counter, you know, so
Yeah.
you need a lot of support to pull off a good race too. You need lap counters, pit men, you know, timers,
Yeah.
you know, judges.
It's a lot of that pilot, man, when that thing quits, to fly that in at the right speed where they can catch it.
Yep. Yeah.
It has to be fast enough where they ain't losing time, but not, you know, quitting and then right there or whatever.
Yeah, or you have to know how to tow the plane around. It shuts off. You know, the worst thing and when it shuts off like an eighth of a lap before your pit, so then you have to tow that plane around, you know, all the way around the circle to bring it to your pit man. Or if you can't do it and you pit it on the other side of the circle, then he has to run around to the other side of the circle to,
Crap. Yeah.
you know, get it back, fill it, and get it back up in the air. You know, so
Yeah, that sounds like a grueling sport.
Isn't there a way they cut that off on them diesels? Somehow they cut that off or something in a certain place. And
well, certain like this plane here, it has a shut off. You know, it has a shut off here, and then when you hit the down line, it pulls the shut off, and it's a rod on a spring that crimps the fuel tubing. You know, it's this little button here. You know,
okay.
So that's what this lever here is. So when you pull full down, it pulls that rod and lets the spring, lets the rod go up and, you know, crimp the fuel line. So when you're flying and your guy calls you in for your pits, you have the plane, you give it full down, you snap the shut off, and then, you know, give it full down and up again, and then it shuts the engine off, you bring it in. And then a real good pilot can, you know, knows where to shut it off to glide it in.
Yeah.
But some like Foxburg and Clown shut offs aren't allowed. So you're at the mercy of when the engine shuts off. So it could shut off, you know, like I said, right in front of your pit man, and you can't bring it in then because it's, you know, it's going too fast. So you have to either, you know, you have to pull it all the way around to them, you know, and some of the light planes, it's really hard to do, you know.
Yeah, it's all
Like when we did Foxburg racing, I think it was Clown racing there at Brodat.
Yep.
And Samantha got pretty good because she knows I'm old and I can't jump up and run and this kind of stuff. And she could whip it around to me, or she could just kill speed off. They had that plane doing all kind, and usually land it within a couple feet of me.
Yeah, like you say, if it shuts off like a half a lap, what you do is you give it full up and you give it full down, the full up and full down. You shake it down, and you know, rub the speed off and bring it in.
Burn off the energy. Yeah.
Yeah. My friend that I used to, you know, he passed away. He was my pilot. Yeah, he was really, really good. I mean, he could shake it down. He'd bring it right to me. You know, he was amazing. He was a really good pilot.
Yeah, we took second that one year. It's just that our little LA wasn't as fast as some of the other ones.
Yeah.
You know, so it was just, but our pit stops were so much faster than everybody else's because, I mean, she just got it to me every time, and that thing would always start first flip and off it'd go again.
Yeah.
But
one year, my friend, when I went out to Brodak the first time we raced, I brought a Foxburg, and it was the slowest Foxburg out of all the guys in Brodak, and that's back when they were flying 4-up, and we ended up coming in second place with the slowest Foxburg because my pilot didn't get any line tangles and he got it to me, and I got it, and it started right up. You know, so
that was the same with us because it was 100 lap. And actually, I think we were in first place at 100 lap, but 150 lap, on the final, whatever, we took second. But I thought we did pretty good for having a slow plane. We just had really fast pit stops. But
what speed is Foxburg usually flown at? I mean, Are they souped up engines or are they just ordinary engines?
Well, it's a stock 35 Stunt.
Okay.
But
Or-
at Brodak, you're allowed to use a Brodak 25 or an LA 25.
Right.
Speeds.
And then the clown racing was a 15.
Right. Now,
Yeah.
clown racing is different. Clown racing goes by the minutes. Clown racing,
Is that what it was?
yeah, clown racing 7.5 minute, preliminary and a 15-minute final.
Okay.
And the most person is, and whoever does the most laps in 15 minutes wins.
And you had to do 2 pit stops or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Well, in the final, you have to do 3. In the preliminary, you have to do 2.
Okay, yeah, it was not good. We were happy. I mean, it was the first time we ever did it.
And then at Foxburg's the other at Brodak, they run it 100 laps preliminary, and in the final is 200.
What we found out though is that we broke a needle valve there, and I'm gonna get another needle valve at the hobby shop. And I actually got a 15 size needle valve, and it'll fit right in a 25.
Right.
They will haul ass.
Oh yeah.
But we weren't getting any laps, and we were running out of fuel. And it's like, what the hell? Why the hell is this all changed and stuff? And then Van Jock's looking down there and he goes, "Did you put a 15 needle valve in there?" And I'm like, "I don't think so." Went back and looked at the package, sure as shit. So I went and got down to 25. We got their lap time and settings and stuff back. But yeah, I couldn't believe what a 15.
I guess what's the diameter? I mean, if it fit right in, it must have the same diameter. What could be different that would cause
They turned down the center part of it.
Yeah, step
Okay.
down.
Yeah. So with more air, you got to turn.
Oh yeah, that thing would really go.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, that's like I was saying in slow combat. You know, you could put that if you're LA, you didn't think it was fast enough or whatever. You could actually put the 15 needle valve in there and then dial it back a little bit and get your lap times right.
With the Foxburg racing, what model did they use for that? I know we've had flight streak racing here, where it's a standard flight streak with an LA 25. What did they use for Foxburg racing?
Well, the Foxburg is supposed to originally the Goldberg kit. So it's the spring, the cosmic wind, but there's another one, the Miss Sarah or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But,
we flew a flight streak because they allow flight streaks too, and that's
well now in Brodak they allow the flight streak and the Brodak version, also the whatever I forget what the name of it. The Brodak.
We didn't do as well in the Foxburg. You need one of the Goldberg kits, and you need the tank all kind of blended in with the wing, and
it's you run the 2-ounce tank, the Sullivan tank, or the got to plumb it.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And
how long ago did you do that, Steve? I must
4 years ago, I think.
Okay, so you were in the sportsman class.
Yeah, we never made it up to the fast ones or anything.
Right.
Y'all excuse me for a minute. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember. I guess I missed it. I must have saw it because that's where I'm at the contest. But anyway,
6 years ago.
Oh, 6 years ago. Okay.
Yeah, because I pitted.
That was 2012.
My only trophy.
That was the 1 year. That was the 1 year I didn't go because my friend was sick in the hospital.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's 2012.
Yeah, 2012. We took second place in Foxburg.
Yeah, that's when my friend he was sick. That's the 1 year I didn't go.
Yeah, Samantha has all these trophies. I got one, but I was the pit man.
Yeah, because I would have, I would have liked to seen that, But yeah, the guys called me up. The guys at One Expert called me up and thanked me for not coming.
Yeah.
He said, geez, Al, thanks for not coming. We got first place.
Yeah, it was, it was a lot of fun. I mean, we went down there, we decided it, like a month beforehand, and we built that little clown racer, and we threw together just a ARF flight streak. It went down there with them, and it was a lot of fun to do it. Just.
I tell you, the first year we went down there, the clown event was so big. I think that was in 2006 or 7. The first time, 2006. The clown event was so big. There were spectators all the way around the circle, completely around the circle. That's how many people were there. I think they had like 20 entries. It was ridiculous. But it was a real good time. But back then, it was any engine as long as it was a side exhaust.
Oh.
And it couldn't be, of course, and then it's limited to a 20, and of course, and then you're limited to a 1-ounce tank. So we went, I went down there, and the guys from the Canary Islands were there. They had diesels, and there was a lot of variety of different engines that year. But we had a good time.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it was fun to play around with, and like I said,
but that's why because the planes were so fast, and the guys, there was a massive line tangle in one of the heats, and then after that they said no more of that. Then they moved to LA 15 or Brodak 15 only. The slow.
What was so funny is that at the 6 years ago, Samantha was probably like 4'2", and there was some guy there that was flying Foxburg, and he was 6'8".
Oh yeah.
So the 3 of them out there, and it's like she'd be like, duck.
Yeah, right. He gets lines wrapped around his neck.
But it was funny when he was passing her, he just fly right over top of her head. I mean, it was hilarious.
I mean, this year I was flying Foxburg, and I don't know what the heck was going on, but the one guy took off, and the plane, the lines got caught on the grass. Then the plane, here comes the plane chasing us in the circle as we're flying, and it's like, holy shit, said, give that thing full down, whatever, so then they get the plane out, and then later on, the same thing happens with another guy. The plane comes down, comes straight across, I had to jump over it, goes out, hits the ends of the lines, turns around, and comes back at us again. We're like, holy shit, give it full down, bury that thing, or whatever. The thing's scooting along the grass.
Yeah, Samantha did it the 1 year, but they one guy launched right into her.
Yeah.
It pulls up, and the airplane, it hit the lines and stuff, and it went in nose first. It was just sitting there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not broken or anything. It's fine. We'll get to fly again or whatever. And then the same guy lost it on takeoff, come across the circle, hit her airplane, and cut it right in half.
Oh, yeah. There's you see a lot of action there.
But yeah, then she didn't want to fly racing anymore because they keep breaking her airplanes.
Yeah. People come for the crashes,
Yeah, Samantha ain't into crashing. She doesn't. She's like, you know how much time I put in that airplane, and then you wrecked my airplane.
Yeah. Once you sort of build a sense for it, like, I mean, that same thing that happened to her happened to, I was in the circle, and I was flying, and all of a sudden I heard, it didn't sound like right. The planes were like, going straight up, you hear it. And I'm on the other side of the circle, and so I turn around and look, and I see the guy going straight up. So I immediately did a wing over to get away from him,
Oh,
and then he caught the other guy going around, and next thing I know, I hear, kapop, kapop. They both went down, so I knew it was safe to stop doing loops and continue on racing,
Yeah.
It's always you got to be on the lookout for stuff like that.
But yeah, Samantha,
That's what I'm talking about, being, you know, like experienced, you know, racing pilots, because,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff happens really fast,
Yeah.
really.
It can be can be very unhappy experience as a greenhorn going in there with very experienced people, and it really is a team. So you've got to have a pilot and a mechanic really good with the model. My
Right.
experience with racing tells me leave the models on the wall. I've got a couple of B-class classic team races and our Phantom races, but the Phantom's not so bad because it's not as competitive. They're only a 1.5 diesel, but the
Hey.
29s are too hard.
And
Y'all
with your,
take a look at Jared's plane. He just propped it up in front of the camera.
oh, an Olympic. Yeah, it looks nice.
Yeah, that's pretty cool looking.
He's got a pile of them there tonight.
Yeah.
Must be collected.
Is it not going to have a center
you
rudder?
figured them up after the contest?
Oh, you flew all of them at the contest?
These were all just donated to our club from a guy that's moving to Utah, and he couldn't take anything with him.
Wow.
He kept like a P-38 and a P-51 model that he had, and then all these others he donated to my club. But they've all been flown hard and put away wet and pretty grungy. So I'm trying to clean them up a little bit, and then I'm gonna take them to our next meeting and figure out what the club wants to do with them.
Oh, okay.
So,
The Olympic, that's oh shit. I can't even think of his name now. Brickhouse's airplane, right?
I wondered if that's what you were going to say, because he apparently, at least in his later days, did a lot of the stabilizers with the rudders on the tips, or
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it, but that one doesn't even have a center one.
No.
That's like a Baka bomb. You know, the Baka bomb, the Japanese suicide bomber.
Yeah.
It was piloted, you know, by you know, it was meant by, they had a real pilot in there, and it was on a suicide mission. And, you know, so it had to, you know, tell things like that.
Now,
You was showing your trophy a while ago. I don't have any airplane trophies, but here's my latest trophy from last weekend.
oh boy,
Let's do that. Okay.
oh, that's a nice trophy. Wow.
Oh,
So
good.
how much did you catch? The biggest fish or the most pounds, or what kind of scoring did?
Both. We had, it's a team. It's me and my brother. We had the most weight and big fish for both days. So we
Was that bass?
bass. Yeah, we had big fish Saturday and big fish Sunday. So we turned out pretty good that weekend. That was our championship.
Well done, Eddie. That's
We
good.
put a hurting on them. Second place had 8 pounds. We had first place with 23. So
Oh, wow. Was
Holy
it?
shit.
we had 13 pounds Saturday. So we could have just slept in Sunday and still won it. But
Who wants
It
to
was-
do that when you can go catch big bass?
that's right. We caught 2 more Sunday. It got us big fish for Sunday too. So
Mhm.
walked out of there with over $1,000. So
Was this out on a reservoir or something like that?
it's in Kentucky Lake there at Paris Landing in Tennessee.
Mhm.
That's a nice day's work.
Oh, hell yeah.
It wasn't bad. Wasn't bad weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. A buddy of mine, my best friend there, he got to fish the Red Man and stuff like that. He won the Red Man for Michigan. And then, no, I take it back. Took second place in Michigan. Then he won the regionals. And then he got to go to the national. And they were fishing on right outside by St. Louis or something there on the Mississippi River. And he'd go every weekend and practice and everything. And he hit a sandbar 5 minutes into the tournament, sucked gravel into his motor, and his motor stopped. And that was the end of his, because if he would have won, he would have got to go into the Bassmasters.
Yeah.
You'd have got a place into that. But yeah, he'd beaten Van Dam and all them guys. And they all knew him and everything else. But he never could make it over the hump.
Ours is just a little small club. We only had like I think we started out with 20 boats and ended up with 11 by the time we got to the championship. Everybody drops out during the year to go duck hunting or something.
It's so expensive.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I couldn't believe the money he spent on bass fishing.
Oh yeah.
You know, it'd be like I'd go over to his house and he'd be restringing his poles, and he'd take 20 with him on a tournament.
I took 12 with me this weekend, the last weekend.
Each pole is worth what? $300-400?
Not mine.
His reels were like $300 some plus, and it's like, oh my God, you know, he'd have $6,000-7,000 worth of fishing poles with him for one of these contests. And
well, I pay the Bassmasters too. The entry fees on those things on Bassmasters is $5,000.
Yeah,
The entry fee. But you're fishing for $100,000 too.
Yeah.
They got to make that jackpot up somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing pretty good with it. He said, you know, he was keeping going by his winnings and stuff like that. But I just couldn't believe the money that, you know, pre-fishing, like I said, for 6 weeks, he drove from Michigan all the way to St. Louis, get out of work on Friday, drive there, fish, come back on Sunday, and go back to work. Well, I got to take her calls from my mom. I got to see if she's doing okay.
All right.
Well, I want to go back to that plane that Jared's working on. Y'all say that's an Allen Brickhouse plane, right? I guess that was Steve that said that. Our club had the last plane Allen made was I'll come back and tell you in a minute. I can't remember the name. It was a musical name.
He did the Buccaneer. Didn't
No, after it got wrecked, Will Davis rebuilt it and called it the Troubadour. But before that, it was called something else. Anyway, it had a rudder like that. That's why I recognized that might be what that is. And but it also had a center one. But he sent it to Wayne. Let's see who built that. Wayne and White, I think they built it. White built the fuselage, the wings, and all that. Wayne outfitted it with electronics. That's what it was, and they were gonna test it, trim it, and send it back with the notes on it, and so that he could get it and sell it. And I never did ask to fly it. Nobody ever offered.
Drinking water.
But it was really nice looking plane, and I wanted to tell you the name of it, but I can't remember now. But I was just curious about that kind of rudder. I wonder how that affects the flying characteristics.
We've had a couple of planes with a rudder like that, but one of the club members, Dave Wright, gave us a plane that was an Olympian. It had some triple rudders like a Lockheed Constellation in a way, but
Yeah.
my brother's building Allen Brickhouse Pirater, and he's nearly finished the Scimitar, and they've both got the similar rudder treatment. But one good thing is it'd be easy to store, easier to put in your vehicle. You don't have one big tall rudder. And it's still got an active rudder on the center rudder as well, on the Pirater. I think the Scimitar does too. It's got an active rudder on the center rudder.
If you have any problems getting rid of that super chipmunk back there, I can give you my address.
There was a cool chipmunk at Huntersville, and it had a chipmunk for the pilot. And I mean, a furry little, looked like a real chipmunk sitting in there. That was pretty cool.
Looking at these sails, they have an airfoil into them.
Oh yeah, I kind of wondered if they were offset or anything.
Yeah, they look straight, but they have an airfoil to them.
Yeah. Hold it up one more time. I didn't have you locked in. Okay, now I did. Gotcha. Yeah. Oh yeah, now I can see it. Now I can see it from the tip. It's obvious.
Looks like one side outboard side's flat. Oh no, it's
You'd rather see
one side flat.
your dog and your grandma instead
Yeah,
of
it's an asymmetrical curve to create a lift on the inboard side.
Yeah.
Birthday's coming up Thursday.
Yeah, when I was a kid, we flying our little planes. There was a guy who had a Super Chipmunk, and that was one of the best flying planes I'd ever seen. I fell in love with that plane. And man, those things are great.
Yeah, I flew a Chipmunk for several years, pretty successfully. That's what I learned the pattern on.
Yeah, I like that. That's a sharp looking design. Now, how old is that design? Does anybody know?
Getting over today for a little bit or whatever. I don't know.
I don't have a clue.
Well, they show up.
What kind of engines does he have in those planes?
I think most of them are looking like OS 40 FSRs.
Okay.
I'm not
Fourth
familiar
drive.
with the FSR. I'm assuming it might be more of an RC engine.
I noticed too, a lot of them look like they have stooge cables on them too.
Yeah, they all do. The guy that had them, all he ever did was fly level. He never did aerobatics or nothing.
Okay.
He always flew by himself, and he said he could only ever go out in the morning, and so every time he'd go, he was always by himself. So he had a stooge and would just fly by himself, and never had anyone there to help him learn aerobatics. So all he ever did was fly level. So the one downside about all of his planes, I don't know if you can see that rudder offset,
Yeah. Wow.
but
Yeah,
it's like a barn door.
Yeah.
This is one of the ones that has the least amount of all of his planes. So he's got way too much rudder offset, and then they're all pretty heavy. This one's not too bad, but they're all pretty bulky, and the finish on them is not the greatest, but it'd be a good plane for somebody to learn stuff on.
Right.
yeah.
Well, that engine's not lightweight either.
Yeah, it feels pretty heavy.
Yeah.
He's got about 3 or 4 of them too, laying in a box, and they're pretty bulky for a 40.
Yeah.
I like the needle nose spinner.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember the name of the plane Alan Brickhouse last plane was called Fanfare. And that's the trumpet call that goes da 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 da. And that's it. That's the whole tune. But it was called Fanfare. And then after it got wrecked, Will rebuilt it and renamed it Troubadour. And he's got a reason behind Troubadour. But I don't know what Alan's reason behind Fanfare was.
No, she called her, and she was going to take her out to dinner.
Here's
Mike.
a Super Chipmunk, brand new in the box yet, a kit.
It was the best one of all the big ones, wasn't it? Of the early SIG kits, it was the best one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Designed by Mike Scott, but I don't see a year.
Who knows? Probably, that's what they say and all this kind of shit.
I think it says on there 72 champion or somewhere set in the 70s.
I'm looking. Hold on.
Whose background noise is that?
National champion in this. I can't remember exactly, but
yeah.
Oh, that's Steve talking in the background. I'm gonna mute his mic.
That doesn't say on it.
Hey, Rusty, how do you get this to put it back on the person when talking goes back up on the screen? Or
How do I do what?
when you have the windows open of everybody that's online, and
Yeah.
there's a way to have it so when the person talks, their name, they come to the big screen.
Right.
How do you do that?
Oh, it's one of the default settings. I don't do anything. Well, they automatically dominate the screen unless they quit making noise. But are you wanting to know how I make it stay up? And
No,
if they,
yeah, I guess mine only goes to the person that's, you know, that I click on.
Click on their
Right.
name again.
oh, well, hang on, I'll get back to you.
It's stuck on one
All
person.
right, yeah, okay, yeah, I did it. All right, thank you. Yeah.
Here's the Olympic kit new in the box that I have. Now this says Bob Gialdini on it.
Mhm.
Here, I'll hold the picture up.
Bob Gialdini, huh?
But that's an Olympic kit I got brand new in the box.
Did you get your question answered, Al?
Yes, yeah, I fixed it. I just had to double click on the person again and went back to the default setting.
Oh, I never double click on anything. I just go, let's see what happens if you do. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, well.
Before I clicked on the individual when I looked at the plane, but then I couldn't take it off, get it back off. I had to click on it
just
again.
single click. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I got a Mustang, Sig Mustang new in the box yet too.
Just need the Acrobat to finish it.
I'm sorry, I got Middlesex clicked. Hang on. I'm showing everybody the wrong thing. When I click on it like that, it shows it. That's what records onto YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah. That's two planes in the background. Let's see what else I got from.
So what's Jamie on a location of his job site or something, or work? Rusty,
I'm sorry, say that again.
where was Jamie?
I don't know. I don't. He didn't say.
Okay.
I saw one message from him that said I'll be right back or something like that. Yeah, I'll be back. I don't know. That's all I've seen from him. And now he was here when we first started up, when the spam kid was bothering us, but I hadn't seen him except for that one post.
I just noticed that he wasn't home in his shop like he usually is.
Oh, he actually did say something like that. I don't remember exactly what he said.
Says here that on the SIG's website that it was first precision aerobatics in 1976, 77, 78, 79, and the 1980 Nationals by Dave Fitzgerald on the Super Chipmunk.
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking through the SIG catalog, but I couldn't find it. So yeah, that answers the question. It's in the 70s anyway.
Yeah, and then it has first precision aerobatics in 83, 84, and 85 by Jim McClellan. But it's a Mike Scott design. Mike Stott, excuse me. But I know they're good flying planes. I've seen them in action.
Yeah, I've seen some really nice performing ones. They seem to be the lightest of them. They seem to perform the best of the. I've got an Acrobat. I've had the Mustang, and I've seen others that have the Chipmunk, and that one work the best.
A Super Chipmunk, of course, it's based off a real plane. It was a modified P-51 Mustang, a racing plane.
I thought the Chipmunk was based off the Havilland Chipmunk, the Havilland.
It may be a different plane that I'm thinking of, but that's, I mean, yeah. I know one of them's designed off a modified P-51.
Yeah, well, they had their Mustangs down to.
Paint scheme. because the paint scheme is kind of modified from the Miss America Mustang, but the Chipmunk is the de Havilland is the manufacturer.
Yeah, they were originally it had a twin canopy like a Harvard or a Texan, and then they did an aerobatic version with the bubble canopy later on, and I think it was the one that was based off the aerobatic de Havilland Chipmunk. They put a souped-up motor in it, and it was a really good performing aerobatic aircraft in its era back in the 60s, I think it was. There was another Chipmunk
Paint job on that shark. That's a shark, isn't it?
Yeah.
Charlie Reeve busted his gorgeous shark. Jared, you were at Huntersville when Charlie was there with the shark, I think, weren't you? You remember? I guess he's out of earshot.
What did you say?
Oh, I said, were you at Huntersville? I'm thinking that might have been the year you were there when Charlie Reeves had his shark. Do you remember seeing it in real life?
Well, I don't remember that.
Man, it was gorgeous. It looked like he had just dipped it in a vat of thin oil. It was so shiny. And it's one of the most gorgeous planes with a warbird color scheme that I've ever seen. Oh, I should pull it. I got it somewhere. If I see it, I'll pull it up.
Yeah, this one's kind of a rat nest.
Yeah, it looks like a beater. That's all right. Beaters are good. Everybody should have some.
Better when I got this one right here. If I can get it out of here without tearing it up more than what it already is.
Oh, well, that's what they call hanger rash.
I don't know where I got. Didn't have a cowling on it, and I heard something rattling in the wings. So I cut a little hole in it there, and it mouse droppings fell out of it.
Oh, no.
So it had a mouse living in it at one time.
Do you put heat shrink on your terminations at the bell crank?
How's that?
Do you put heat shrink at the terminations on your bell crank? At the line terminations?
You know, it's been so long since I built one.
What made me think of that is mice will eat the insulation off wiring, so I thought that looked like good food for them.
Oh yeah,
ate your heat shrink off.
No. Yeah, I bought that from a guy. I bought that for $60.
I learned when I was making my baby flight streak, I learned a valuable lesson, and that was not to try to shrink the tube around the terminations with a torch when you are working in the vicinity of balsa.
Yeah, yes.
I got it out. I blew it, but there's a big old smudge to this day, black, where the just the surface of the rib looks like it's been etched away a little bit, but it's never broken.
It's funny you guys mentioned about mice. I was working on a Volkswagen Beetle today, and we had to take the little side signal lamp off by the door. That to take the dashboard, top of the dashboard off and get it from the inside of the car. So we take the dashboard off, and that's where the cabin filter is for the fresh air for the heating system. And inside there was a huge mouse nest. And like we were like, oh my God, it was like it, took all the insulation that it could from the car and had all kinds of acorns and stuff, and we had to vacuum, get that all out of there before I had to take the cabin filter out. Then we had to pull out a plug and then get our hand in there where I could access the.
How long did that take?
Excuse me?
How long did it take to do that?
Oh, I mean, about a half an hour,
Oh, no shit. Good Lord, it would take me all weekend.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, it's the Volkswagen on the dashboard has 3 pieces. You have to, the center part pops out, and then you have to take out 6 torque screws to get the right hand side out. And then after you take those out, then you have to take 6 more screws to get the plate off. And then there's the cabin filter. And, you know, you just pull that out. But to get at the cabin filter, we had to go through the nest. You know, it was like, we couldn't believe it was in there, you know. It was like,
Don't they? These mice, they really do make a mess of planes or cars. But that's why I always keep all the planes in the workshop here and inside the house, because if I leave them out in the garage or in one of the sheds, I'm sure the mice would get them, mice or rats.
yeah, there's,
I see mouse droppings on the shelves in my shop, but I don't really worry about them too much. I throw little packs of mouse killer around here and there sometimes, but I never see a dead one out there.
shit. When I moved where I live, there's woods and there's like a creek and a retention pond. And when I first moved here, you know, we started hearing noise in the attic. Oh, what the heck is that? And we go upstairs. I put a little snap trap up there with peanut butter. Well, I caught the mouse, but then I looked at the trap and I said, all the peanut butter's gone. So I said, well, there's got to be more than one then. Who ate the peanut butter? So then I put 4 more traps up in the attic and caught 4 more mice the next day. Then I put like 12 traps up in the attic. And I was doing this like every week until I finally, got it down to where I was getting like 1 a month. And then finally I hired a company to put bait stations outside. I got bait stations out, 6 bait stations around my house. And I got traps and bait stations in my attic. And I mean, they're crazy, the mice around here. Unbelievable.
Works good.
One time a neighbor was clearing a second lot that was on their property. It was pines and hardwoods. And when they cut all those trees down, apparently the trees were full of rats, rats. And they migrated quite quickly to our attic. I'm sure some other attics around the neighborhood too. But man, they were skittering around up there making a racket. And we've tried all kinds of different types of traps and all, but we tried a glue station. Have you ever seen those, a glue trap?
Yeah, I had those too, but the problem with those, they're alive. Then you got to deal with a live mouse.
No
and then
kidding.
you got to ground it.
We had one stuck in a glue trap, and
Yeah.
he was flipping and banging and rolling, and it went on and on and on.
Yeah.
Finally got up there, and grabbed the tray with a pair of pliers and carried him out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Decon works good. I use that a lot. It's a poison, kills them, but it doesn't when they decay, they don't smell, and they just
Okay.
dry up to a skeleton.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
don't smell or nothing.
You just can't have them if you got pets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
you put it up in the attic, and we got them down in my dad's basement and up in my attic. So
Yeah, you just got to be careful because they it's coumadin and they'll want water and stuff. And if they'll get by pets, their dishes and stuff like that. And then if you got a dog or a cat, they could kill them and eat them, and then that'll kill them.
Yeah.
My lab ate a roach motel one time. It said the poison won't hurt him, but it's the sharp plastic that follows. But she weighed about 110 pounds, so her digestive tract was probably fairly large. I swear that cat could eat a beer can.
Yeah, it was funny how you're talking about peanut butter.
Dog.
Mhm.
But that dog, man, I never seen anything could eat stuff like those leather buns. They're you know, got knobs on the ends about
Rawhide
that.
bones.
Say what?
How you guys doing?
Bones.
Scott here.
Oh, hey, who we got here?
Scott Moe from Albany Eagles.
Oh, all right.
Got here,
How you
Jared.
doing, man? Welcome to the show.
Did you guys hear what happened to my thumb a while back?
Oh,
No, what got it?
5 stitches.
Got in a fight with a prop, huh?
Yes, pretty nasty one.
They're going from the other side.
Well, I was on the back side of the propeller. Just a needle valve and whack.
I watched a few guys at the contest this weekend reaching around the prop from in front of it, and that's just a bad idea. But that doesn't sound like what you did with the thumb. That usually gets you on the wrist or something. But yeah, I've stuck my thumb in a prop. I've showed the picture to these guys a bunch of times.
well, yeah, I got 6 stitches at Brodak this year on a bad handoff. They started the engine and in combat and handed me the plane on a 45-degree angle. And it's like, and it just nicked me. I said, oh, shit. I looked down, I'm bleeding like crazy. So they had to run out to, get stitched up.
Yeah, Mike Lonke got some stitches this year too.
Yep, yeah, he got his first, and
He did.
I got it right after. It's all healed up real nice, but it caught me right across here. I went out to get the plane like this, and the guy handed me the plane on a 45-degree angle.
Hey.
I was like,
Well, we've all been hit by them, and people wonder why we have to have insurance. And even with the radio control and stuff like that, there was a park in Springfield. They flew RCs at one part of the field, and just across the trees was four ball fields that Little League played on. So you can imagine one of these big RC planes with a 14-inch prop or 15-inch prop getting down there in the dugout with a bunch of little 10-year-olds.
oh man, yeah.
It'd kill them.
I saw a guy. I was at the Philly Combat Contest, and the guy, they start him up in between their legs, and he got hit like Lonke got hit. He had like 12 cuts on his hand. Kept on. It nicked him like 12 times all over his hand. We're going like, oh, he's like, holy shit. Everybody's like running like crazy. But get him some, but he was okay. He didn't need any stitches. He just had him.
Okay, for those of you who have grossed out before, but those might not have seen it, there's my thumb, my prop strike.
That's not that bad. That's a surface wound.
Yeah, it's shallow. It's just superficial. But
That's quick reflexes right there.
Those black dots are actually black Rust-Oleum from painting the little Satan.
So, what were you doing? Counting your flights for the day?
No, I was test running an MP Jet 061. Anybody ever heard of that engine? Czechoslovakian engine, cafe engine.
I saw pictures of them. Yeah.
They mostly make diesels, but there are a couple of them, the 049 and the 061, that have glow plugs.
I don't know if you can.
Hey, Jared, what are you using to clean that with?
Well, right now I'm just using Windex because there's so much dust and dirt on them.
That was mine.
Ow.
I saw you in a metal can there. I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah,
It almost got that vein.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys looking at Al's
Yeah.
picture?
Oh, shit, Al.
That's see.
So what you do?
You
You
ain't
got
gluing
that,
that
you
together
whipped out
with
the
CA.
camera and immediately took a picture of it.
No, that was I couldn't. My friend took a picture. I was driven there. That's after it was all stitched up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice stitching job.
Oh yeah, she did a great job. But now you can't even tell. You know, it looks just like a crease in my skin. You know, and that looks great.
Yeah, just another wrinkle.
Yeah.
I've been lucky. Last time I was hit, I was a little kid with an 049 and them damn spinner spring props on a Cox.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
I got my tied up in one of
I've
those.
never been hit hard with anything of a big, 25 and up size.
that was the worst. You know, actually, it was a 15, and it was running a 7.3 prop, and he, like I said, he was running out to the handle, so he pushed the plane at me and at a 45-degree angle. Didn't even look, just shoved the plane at me. And as I had my hand out there, it just like caught me. APC,
What a moron.
what's that?
I said, what a moron.
Yeah, well, APC 7.4. So
Did anybody see
Lucky
that?
it-
That's
Yeah.
my
That's
my
a nice
right hand thumb. That's
Oh, that's awful, man.
Yeah.
That's
That's
a nice.
for a long time. It tore that muscle up pretty good, didn't it?
here's a week later.
That look more like a beaver got a hold of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a bear.
Just Super Tiger 60.
It just filleted that top part, didn't it?
The hazes are saying I shouldn't put my hand in the mouth of a tiger.
Yeah.
Well, I did my hand with the prop of the 13.6 prop on my Eagle, but it's healed up nicely now. It's just a bit of a scar, and I was just adjusting the needle, and I got the part of my hand into the prop arc. But yeah, you don't forget it. It was funny the other week when we had the Ringmaster-a-thon, Max was starting a Xenia 35, and I said, put a glove on, and he was flicking it with the glove, and then it started, and he just stuck his whole hand in the prop arc, but he had this leather gauntlet on, and it saved his hand. He just did a good wrap on his hand. But it was very fortunate.
Yeah. But before this, the worst that I ever got was like you, Rusty, messing with the little half A engines. They were so,
Talking about one of these.
hard to start or whatever, being
Yeah.
being difficult, flipping it, then it kicks back on you, and they're so fast and snappy, and
Yeah. And sometimes the needle valves are so close to the prop. And a lot of times, you'll put your knuckle into the backside of the prop. And that scares the shit out of you, but usually doesn't hurt you too bad.
my knuckles a couple of times. Yeah.
That's a nice looking plane, Jared.
Yeah, that's all, like it's like and then the other ones are, like I said, like a bad paper cut with the half A's. But that was the worst cut I ever got. I mean, I was like, oh shit, you got me good.
Hey Gerald, you like the Fox Hawk motors, don't you, for control line?
They're not very good though. I like them, but they look nice. But they're not. The timing's wrong. It's like 160-degree exhaust timing.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I see that Randy Smith's got some on Stunthangar right now on the classifieds.
Oh,
But I don't know if he has mufflers or intake or
I've got a number of them, and I've run a number of them. But I think the Eagle, the Mark 1 Eagle's a nicer stunt engine. It's got a better run, better suited to stunt flying. It's got timing like you'd use on a tuned pipe. So unless you're going to run it with a tuned pipe, and even then it's the timing's too radical. Something like an OH40 FSR, which had fairly radical timing in its day, has got like 145-degree exhaust timing, whereas the Hawk's 160. So he was trying to squeeze whatever power out of it he could, and he said best to run it with an 11.6 prop, Duke Fox. So when you run a big prop on them, they've got that tendency to run away. So you're using a big prop to slow it down in a sense. And if you put it with a smaller prop, the tendency to run away is even greater. So, they're a difficult motor. I've seen people use them even on vintage stunters, and I can't imagine why you use it on a vintage stunter other than its look, the nice anodizing, the red anodized head and the nice chromy case looks nice. I saw one on a Taurus vintage stunter, and I thought it looks nice, but it's not the right sort of motor for that sort of model.
Okay, I hadn't seen them on there. I heard you talk about them before, and I meant to tell you Friday, and then we didn't get on Friday. And
Has anybody ever seen these things? They're a weight scale that you can buy at Walmart. What I've done to it, normally these arms that are on here are curved for a bowl to go on them. I flattened 2 of them out in 90-degree, the 2. Then I've taken these here, which were rails for a drawer out of a dresser. So then with them, I put a bolt through one end. Now I can slide them on there, and I can weigh airplanes.
oh, okay.
Oh man, that is too cool.
Really. See, I can.
And you know what? I would trust that more than an electronic gauge any day.
And it weighs in pounds and ounces. The airplane has very narrow gear. Well, you just turn these things around, and now you have narrowed the opening on here.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Man, that's awesome.
Good thinking.
about $20.
Yeah, because for my electronic scale, I took and got a cheap ass cooler, and then just took and put a notch in it, set the cooler on and zero it, and then set the airplane on the cooler. But yeah, that's a whole lot easier than trying to put it on its nose. And
I find the wingtips usually the best place to stand it up vertical or stand it up straight.
oh, okay.
I can manage to get it to where I can let go of it and it stays still long enough to lock a pretty good reading in.
Yeah, I did the cooler thing because I seen John Paris do. He was weighing all the airplanes at the Nats, and he took and just got that little cheap cooler and just cut 2 notches in it, and the airplanes would set right there, and the wings would go on the outside of the cooler, and that's how he weighed all the airplanes at the Nats.
Okay.
Years back. So, like, well, that works.
I got a question.
Good idea. You got some kind of Teflon coated tape on the backside and put it all the way around the slots so any plane that does touch it isn't getting any drag.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they make tape like that or not. I'm sure they do. You can
Anybody
probably
have an idea
sound
why?
like something Al might know. Can you get a roll of sticky, like any other kind of tape, but with a Teflon backside? You know of anything like that?
I don't know. You might be able to get
It
some.
sounds like something Al might know about. I didn't know if he did or not.
I think
So,
maybe
Eddie, I
just-
see you got a green head, huh?
Yeah, I just wonder if anybody knows why the torpedoes, the exhaust was on the left-hand side.
Yeah, because when you mount them in upside down in a full fuse, it points to the outside of the circle.
I was wondering if I thought that's the reason why they did that, but I wasn't sure. I got 3 of them. I love them, man. They're great.
They're a pain in the ass when you put them on a profile.
Yeah.
What engine is it?
The torpedo greenhead.
I got a couple of those. I got a 25 and a 35.
I run mine on profile, and it screams like a scalded dog.
Yeah, because like back in the day, if you put a Fox 35 on a Nobler with no muffler, that thing's pointing the sound in at you.
Yeah. Well, see, this one, if you got it on a profile, it's pointing up.
Yeah, and then you got to try to put the needle valve towards the bottom and reach down
Yeah.
there. Otherwise, you burn the shit. We tried to do it. I thought I could do it fast enough. You can't do it fast enough.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is a super cyclone's neat.
Yeah.
Super cyclone, you can rotate it. It's got the bolts on the around the base of it, so you can turn it around either way, and it's got the same.
Yeah, my thumb.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
It's got the same slots it's got transfer slots on each side, so you can run it either way around. And in the original ads for the Super Cyclone, they said sold for upright or inverted, so they just turned it around. And there's no
Turn it so it'd be a rear exhaust also, or not?
not like a Fox. No, the Fox 19 you can do rear exhaust both sides, and the Eagle Mark IV you can do rear exhaust or both sides. But I thought that was pretty revolutionary for its day.
Yeah.
It's pretty
But-
light. Not
Yeah,
bad.
very, yeah. I've got to put it on a Chief. I'm building a Chief right now, and that's what I've been working on, cutting out my bits and pieces, putting together my undercarriage. It's an old Vico Chief, but the original Vico Chief, they said it could be set up for an ignition or a glow. So I'm setting it up like it's an ignition model.
So what motor is that now again, Gerald?
Oh, it's Super Cyclone.
Oh, okay. I've heard of them, but I've never seen one. I didn't know you could do that.
I flown this plane once, and this is the line. It was like this going around the circle.
That's
Similar deal with the Anderson Spitfire. That's an Anderson Spitfire, and again they've got the bypass on both sides, so you can turn the cylinder around either way.
That one's
Okay.
That's a glow.
56 ounces.
Oh, that one's an ignition, but you could run it as a glow if you want to. They're a bit stronger than the Super Psych, so they'll take a bit of nitro, I believe, as well. Whereas the Super Psych, you've really got to run it on a.
I never cleaned these planes.
My friend has some glow plugs that look like that.
Terrible.
Yeah, that's a 3/8 glow plug. Yeah,
That's a glow plug, or is that a sparker?
oh, that's a glow plug. That's a glow plug in that one.
Okay.
I can pull it out and you can see it. If I can find my wrench around here. You can see that it's got like a big element in them.
This Tempest weighs a ton. The Shark weighs a ton.
You know, I guess I was thinking people were dopes. I see them on eBays with these motors and saying it's a glow motor, and I see a spark plug in it, and I'm like, holy shit, them dopes! That's a damn ignition motor.
Yeah.
I didn't know they made glow plugs that look like spark plugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I might have a spare one around here.
Boy, you learn something new every day.
Yeah, my friend has a couple of those. I think they're old champions or something. And he has that in his old-time stunt, All-American, in a Fox 35, and it runs really good.
So they're 3/8 though instead of quarter, huh?
Yeah, here, I'll pull it out and you can see it. Yeah. So, yeah, you can see the big thread on it, and then I'll hold it up to the camera. You can see it's a
I don't know.
glow plug in there.
Too, huh?
Yeah, an idle bar glow plug, yeah.
Wow. Does somebody still make them if you need them again, or are you just pretty much screwed if they're gone?
No, there is one company still making them, and they, what's it? Do the little Hertmeyer, I think, that did the model railway stuff as well, and the early OK engines. He's still selling the 3/8 glow plugs.
Wow.
So they're still available. Otherwise, you can actually get a converter where you screw it in there and it converts to the 1/4x28 thread, or 1/4x32 thread, I think it is. So
I see.
it's like a little disc, a little threaded disc that you screw in, and it adapts it over to a 1/4-inch plug. But it just means if you want to run glow, you don't have all the ignition gear, the weight of the ignition gear in it.
Oh, okay.
It's like my other model I've got on the wall over there. Can't see it from there, but the Viking I've got a Atwood Champion, and that's a spark ignition engine, and that's running a glow plug in it too. This makes it convenient if you just want to run it in the same fuel as the other engine.
15.
You have to run a lot of oil in them, or is?
Oh, I've run all the Fox 35s. I've got like 7 Fox 35s on different models. So if I'm running a Fox 35, then I'm set up to run those as well.
Oh, okay.
I've got my oily mix there for all of them. I run 25% oil. and then 10% nitro normally. But as long as you don't get them hot, I think the glow fuel runs cooler than petrol anyway. So if you're running a muffler like that one, I've made up a tube muffler for it, and it's fairly, you could hear it. It's not very restrictive, but that way it won't get too much heat into it.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, at our old club field or whatever, where we flew to school, the guy wanted to put up a ignition motor. But man, we played with that thing for like 4 hours and never could get it to run worth a diddly. So it never did fly, but we couldn't even get it to
5 ounces.
Well, this way, if you just put in a glow plug, it takes out all the ignition problems, and then if you've got it running, your tank and fuel system running, then you can then go over to an ignition system and then play around with that. But at least get your needle setting right on glow, get your tank and fuel running right, and then go over to ignition.
Jeez.
Just a way of eliminating some of the problems that you might get running an ignition. But a lot of guys run the electronic ignition on their ignition motors, so that it takes away the need to have really clean points, because most ignition motors, the points are right there at the front, and they're going to get oiled by the overspray from the carburetor. You know, your carb spray is going to go all over the points. But if you run electronic ignition, it's like an old car converted from points to electronic ignition. It just takes the current load off the points, and you're just using it as a switching device, and you use a power transistor to actually spark the coil, and you don't need a conductor. So a lot of guys that are running vintage old-time models are running electronic ignition with their sparkers just to...
13 ounces.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I always wanted to play with one, but I've never have.
Oh, there's a lot of them out there now. A lot of the guys that really collected them are they're getting older, and they're finding new owners now. So they're not as dear as they used to be. They used to be quite expensive to get into an ignition engine. So if you want to play around and build a vintage model, it's easier now than ever. And all the circuitry is available on Stunthangar if you just ask one of the guys on the stunt section.
They make a lot more noise than the ones they make a lot more noise than a glow engine.
Yeah.
We have some friends that, well, it'll be starting up here pretty soon, the RC club that I belong to. And we have a garage party, but we call it a galage party. That's our lodge in the winter, but they were getting diesels and some ignition motors, but we haven't run the ignition ones yet. So, but last year was all nothing but diesels, and we tried to smoke ourselves out of there and stuff, running them inside. And
bring your earplugs when you run the ignition.
It's all a lot of fun. I'll just get this phone. I'll just mute myself.
Don't ever get near any of Bob Zambelli's planes without earmuffs.
Yeah, a lot of old motors will tolerate a muffler as long as you're not too restrictive, and you can use like a Dubro stack, and the universal stacks work well just to take that noise off.
Hey, Mom.
Okay, yeah. I'll just mute, and I'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, Randy Ryan makes a muffler for a McCoy Redhead, and it's like twice as long as normal and stuff, but it works well. But that's what he said. It had to get had to keep the heat.
Yeah.
Couldn't have it real restrictive, but by making it longer and stuff, I mean, that engine runs great, and it was pretty cool how he took like out of aluminum a T and then bent it around a mold and then wrapped that with aluminum and put a plug in the end of it and then had a spring deal that when it slid over it would hold, and it worked really good. But
I would think a long muffler would well, let me back up. I've always heard that the metallurgy on the McCoys is so weak that I would guess that a long muffler with the vibrations, with that kind of leverage would eventually warp the crankcase or the cylinder.
it never seemed to. he ran that thing for years, and a lot. He loved the McCoy 35s, and I mean, it really ran. It really ran well.
I got one plane with a muffler on it, and that's that new Tudor 2 I got. Other than that, if I can't hear them, I don't want to run them.
Yeah.
Exhaust and the fumes. That's what I like. That's
Well,
why
Yeah, me too.
I'm afraid one day we're all going to have to go electric, and I don't know about that.
The one thing is, though, is that if you run unmuffled motors, that'll be the only thing you hear after a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I've listened to way too many cafes like that.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Well, guys, I'm gonna sign off. I'm gonna,
Yeah, my head's just starting to wobble on top of my shoulders. I think it's about time for me to call it too. But yeah, once we got started, we did pretty good. I thank y'all all for coming in. And
I was hoping some of the West Coast guys would come in, Steve or
yeah,
Charles, or none of them come in. I wanted to find out what was going on there, but maybe they're
we'll
maybe
get,
they're driving home today or something. Who knows?
maybe we'll get Tom Luciano to come in here and talk about his Huntersville experience. And
yeah, I got to get debriefed by him to see what happened with you guys out there and stuff. So I'm looking forward to that video too. If you get it up, Rusty.
well, thanks a lot, man.
Okay.
And you people on YouTube too, the ones that didn't try to invade us, thank y'all so much for coming. And I think we got a few super chat donations from the first crowd. I don't know, after I restarted, I hope those still get implemented. I'm sure they probably will.
All right.
But,
Have a good night, guys.
yeah, good night.
Yeah,
We'll
see you Friday.
Have a good week. See you Friday. Fair winds, tight lines, and see you later.
Later.
Take it easy, Gerald.